What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Sixers Postgame Live. My man Tiago and I are breaking down top takeaways of the Sixers' 104-101 win over the Toronto Raptors. Sixers have now rattled off 5 wins in a row, 8 of the last 11. Now sit at 17-12 on the season. Tiago, what's going on, man?
What's going on, Chris? Good to be back. Glad that you're doing really well off the sickness there. So good to see you again. Yeah, man. If it always took was you getting sick for the Sixers to go on a run, then we sign up for more of that. I'm just joking.
Yeah. These last 2 weeks have been rough, man. We got shot in the house. I just going to bed at 8:30 in the mornings, man. It sucks. At nighttime, it sucks. Sean from the Pick Swap Media, what's going on, man?
Yeah, not too much. Quite the game. A little bit of scrappiness from the side there. Harris signing off with a tell a friend to tell a friend I'm a sharpshooter. So I love to hear that.
Wow. Tobias. We reached the point of Tobias' life where he's bragging about 3-pointers. Wow, we're here.
Boost that trade value, baby, because he is having one hell of a month of December here. Just a wild game, man. I thought the first quarter, the ball movement was terrific. The Sixers were getting shots. Then the second half happened. Whether it was the refs or no one hitting shots, it was absolutely brutal to watch. It was like this game, it just was really tough to watch because the Sixers really struggled to put this team away so many different times. They left the Raptors in the mud, just hanging in this game. I think they had an 11-point lead in the first quarter, a 14-point lead in the second quarter, an 11-point lead in the third quarter. And sure enough, the Raptors made a run here in the fourth quarter. And then in that fourth quarter, we saw the Sixers go on a 10-0 run. It was absolutely terrific. You saw a Tobias Harris huge catch and shoot 3, cut the lead to 4. Anthony Melton, another 3, cut the lead to 1. Joel Embiid at the line. James Harden transition layup, Embiid steal, and went to overtime, and just more chaos ensued. But we got to lead it off here with Tobias Harris, I think, who is having some of his best basketball. Major shout out to this dude who has continued to adjust his game. Who is on the court? I'll throw it to you, Tiago. What was your take on Tobias Harris tonight?
Yeah, I mean, my main takeaway is 8 3-pointers, right? That's what he finished with attempts? Oh, sorry, 7 3-point attempts. Yep, 5 for 7. I mean, that's a guy who we've talked about this on many occasions. He has completely accepted his role offensively as a third star, and most importantly, as a guy who's going to get the hell out of the way and let this 2 stars do their thing, and not only getting out of the way by not having the ball, but also by standing in areas of the court where he's going to be most effectively. Like, so you said, Chris, the corner, right? The corner 3, where he's been absolutely killing it from that right corner all year and has been one of the best 3-point shooters in the NBA over the last month. So I think when the Sixers get this level, Tobias Harris, I think they are absolutely lethal. And I think the broader point speaks to, when the Sixers eventually look to integrate Maxey back into the rotation, like what is the packing order looks like? Because I think from a fit around the 2 stars perspective, this Tobias Harris is exactly what you want as that third star. And I think that's something that the Sixers have to consider as they go down the stretch run, because there are clear lineup combinations that work with Tobias, Joel, and Harden that don't necessarily include Maxey. So I think that's something we have to monitor going ahead. But right now, all positives for Tobias for sure.
I don't know why the shot chart came up black and white, because that is the opposite. Is the opposite of what we have seen from Tobias Harris. You see, like Tiago mentioned, in that right corner spot, 8 of the last 9 games, at least 2 3-pointers made. You look at his month of December, 56% from 3, just sensational. Sean, what was your take on Tobias tonight?
Yeah, he's just getting it. He's understanding his role, doing his thing. And I thought beyond just the 3-pointers, he had some solid moments where he drove the paint and distributed out, which didn't fully show up on the stat sheet, only 1 assist. But I thought he changed the picture in a way that benefited the Sixers. I thought he held up fairly well defensively, which was important. I think to me, that's kind of the biggest question that they're still figuring out with Tobias is if he can be a guy that can truly guard like legitimate perimeter guys. And I don't think Toronto is necessarily the best test for that because I don't think any of these guys are particularly excellent as creators of their own shot. But nonetheless, it was a great Tobias game, just big time shots, even ones where tough ones, like that one possession where it was like Embiid just kind of like flicked it over to him. He caught it to like his knees to come up and hit that. Tobias was player of the game tonight and very impressive stuff. And he deserves it. I'm happy for him to see him having success in the role and seeming to kind of find joy in it.
Love it, man. Absolutely agree. Some quick comments here before we get into Joel Embiid. Mr. Rudy Poo says that weirdo Nick Nurse got the L and Siakam elbows more than Giannis, man. There was some I hate complaining about the refs, but it was really bad tonight. It was really bad. There was one play where Siakam clearly pushes off, and the refs on the next Toronto offensive possession call it, and it was like way less worse. It was not even clearly as big of an offensive foul. The refs lost this game, man. They were just so out of control. Quinn says Toby. There it is. The Siakam stiff arms more than running backs on Sundays. Great comment, man. Let's get into Joel Embiid tonight. 28 points, 11 rebounds. He did struggle from the field a bit. 6 of 16 there. Kind of struggle again. He has a history struggling against the Raptors. It kind of showed again tonight. I'll start off with you, Sean. Like, what was your take on Joel tonight?
Yeah, it's always just going to be the ultimate test for Joel, the way they defend him. And they pretty much abandon everyone else in full of like making Joel make the passes. And at times he does it. Like he had some flashes tonight where he made the right reads, made some nice passes. That little volleyball flick was awesome and like something only he can really do. So that was impressive. But as a whole, I did not think it was his most complete game. We see the bad tendencies at times. There could have been more done. There was there was too much of the give it to Joel and figure it out moments tonight, especially down the stretch too. That the shot that we went to overtime on, the one he missed.
Can we?
You got to get a little better there. Do something a little more.
I mean, but can I say something about that shot?
Can we talk about that?
Sure.
Because like I said, like at the start of the game, I thought the ball movement was crisp. I thought they were getting good looks. Even when they weren't falling, they were good shots. They were good looking shots. And then you look at the way they finished finished regulation. It was just 3 horrific offensive possessions, straight up Doc Rivers ISO ball. That last shot by Joel Embiid, just going away from the basket at the 3-point line was just horrible, man. Just horrible shot.
Chris, they're designing him to be Kobe Bryant in the final minute of the game. That's a Kobe Bryant shot. I mean, here's the thing. If you go back and look at that play, Niang's defender just completely abandons him and goes after Embiid. From a spacing perspective, he probably doesn't have time to make that pass to the corner because the clock's running down. But if you space a guy right on that left wing, that's a wide open 3, man. Like a wide open 3 with one of your best 3-point shooters. Like it's so fundamentally wild how they choose to run their late game offense sometimes. And I'm like, and not only that, like you got Thaddeus Young on him, man. Like get your ass down low and get fouled. What was that? Like I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, that's always going to be it, Tiago. Like that's I'm not going to be able to get that out of my head. Like especially come playoff time, late game situations when you need Doc Rivers to draw up a play call. That's my nightmare. That is absolutely. I am so curious what the Sixers are looking at, like in a moment, just like in this one. And you see Doc with his clipboard. I would love that. It's probably like stick figures or some shit on that board because I want to know what's on that board. I really, really do. It's just he really just throw it to Joel Embiid and create a shot. That's the play. It's horrendous.
And this is one more thing. Like I don't want to make it a negative because they did pull out a win against a pesky team, but 104 points against Toronto, and you start seeing the same issues offensively that occur against better to good teams. Toronto's not a good team, but they're a step up from what they've been facing recently. And it's, they front Joel on the post, they deny him the ball, and then there's no other action off that. And the shot clock ticks. Joe gets the ball late, double team. So you see some of the same stuff that's happened when they play Miami, when they play Boston, and you don't see a lot of counters to it. I mean, it's the same stuff. And, Sixers won, but they scored 104 points against a pretty bad team. It's not necessarily a great sign.
Yeah.
Another key thing that I want to jump on, and this is something I was pretty keyed into and looking for tonight, was how James Harden can separate against a defense like this, and it didn't really happen.
No.
And this to me was kind of like one of the tests, is like for that hoping in some sort of resurgence of burst. I need it against like a good defense, like good wing defenders, which this Toronto team is loaded with. He can't really do it. And I guess to swing that on a positive is tonight was a night where I think it was very clear why we needed Tyrese Maxey. I think there were plenty of moments where he would have provided a nice kind of change of pace and ability to get downhill in a way that the Sixers needed. So to swing that into like, I guess the help is on the way. But I do think it's pretty clear, like in matchups like this, Harden's not going to be the guy to go get you a bucket.
Yeah.
But according to Harden, the reason why he doesn't attack the rim is because there's a big in front of him. That's his point. Even though there's many times where Joe's on the bench and Harden just defers because he can't turn the corner on anybody these days, including when they were making the run in the third quarter. I thought that he could have been more aggressive for sure.
Yeah. The Sixers struggle so much with like Thaddeus, Chris Boucher, who always seems to hit shots against the Sixers. Like that rotation that the Raptors have is just really tough for the Sixers. Bill says it's totally fine for Embiid to not be godlike for a night. I agree that he's been playing terrific lately, but his defense was atrocious. Any thoughts on his defense tonight?
Atrocious is a harsh word.
Yeah, it wasn't his best for sure. Embiid kind of has the same tendency of like flip the switch when he needs to at this point. There were times where like I thought he could have done more for sure. He made me nervous on some of the goaltends, and like it feels like whenever he feels like he needs to make a statement, he does it, but he doesn't just like stay locked in. And I mean, we can all kind of have our feelings on how we feel about that. For the load that he handles offensively, I kind of deal with it, but it definitely could have been better.
Yeah,
I think he could benefit from playing with better perimeter defenders, right? So a lot of guys give up a lot of dribble penetration, and he's constantly having to rotate and close out, and naturally makes you a more tired defender over the course of 48 minutes. When they had Ben Simmons here, he had to do less of that because Ben could kind of lock it down. But when the Sixers roll out, some slow guys, the perimeter is tougher to maintain that consistency. But I think overall he was okay. He stepped up when he needed to late in the game. I think that matters too.
Yep. Mr. Rudy Poo says 6 straight L's for the Toronto Raptors. Barnes looked disgruntled. And Siakam's Bradley Beal impression is not sitting well with dude. I mean, Siakam was awesome tonight. He came into this one playing extremely well, and he ended this one with a great game, 38 points, 15 boards, although that last shot he had was absolutely terrible. But yeah, Siakam, I love Pascal Siakam. He's one of my favorite players in the league. Easily. He always has been, Tiago. You know that. I'm
a small island there, Chris, because the Raptors seem to think he's the next like Kevin Durant.
Wow.
He went for 36, aided mostly because Doc Rivers refuses to make any sort of adjustment on that and thought PJ Tucker could defend him for 48 minutes. But I just don't see it, man. Like the guy is not a hyper efficient, hyper effective isolation scorer. He's one of the worst mid-range shooters in the NBA. He had a great game tonight, but I don't see how the Raptors want to run offense through Siakam every single time on the court. Like I just don't see it.
He's not that dude. He's just not.
He's not.
But he's just not.
That's how I feel about him too. He's always kind of been up there with my more overrated players. I'm not a Siakam guy at all. Because the Raptors, kind of what Tiago said, is they have the perception of he's going to be that guy, like a number one option. And it's like, I think he can be a fine, good player, but he's not going to be your lead perimeter creator. And I don't think Scotty Barnes is going to be that guy either. So I'm not really sure the direction that they're going to go. Two guys, Scotty Barnes, I especially think can be like a winning basketball player, but he's not going to be like an instant offense lead, an offensive unit kind of guy. So I'm interested to see what direction this Raptors franchise goes.
Yeah, like Andre Iguodala, and his his end days with the Sixers. Where do you want to go here before we get into player of the game? D'Anthony Melton really struggled in this one. He had some defensive moments, but the shot did not fall tonight. I respect D'Anthony Melton for just continuing to just let it rip. But my goodness, what did he shoot in this one? 3 of 14, 2 of 11. He was a +8 with 7 boards. Gotta like that. But any thoughts on Melton? Because he has been terrific lately too.
Hey, my thoughts on Melton is that the Sixers could use another bench shooter for days like when Melton is not really hitting, and you kind of give him a little bit of a breather. They don't really have that because Korkmaz is out, and they don't really have any kind of knock. Well, Niang is
Daniel House, little signs of life.
Yeah, he did.
That little sidestep from 3, that was nice.
Yeah,
and I want to use this podcast, Chris, because we don't do this often. We don't do this every time, but I want to use this time to shout out my guy Isaiah Joe. He's tearing it up in the NBA and could fit into that, Anthony Melton role a little bit, days like today. So I just want to throw that out there because I don't know if I'll get a chance to do that again. I had a lot of people tell me he couldn't play basketball. A lot of people tell me he couldn't play basketball. So, anyways, continue.
I mean, look at Charles Bassey. Bassey's
also hooping.
Dude is a baller, man. He's a baller. Ben Butler says Isaiah Joe is rocking out.
Yeah.
Man, it would be nice to have Isaiah Joe on this backcourt off the bench. Rudy Poo says need PJ Tucker to stop pump faking open shots and please shoot. What is the deal with PJ Tucker? Like, is this guy going to be playable in the playoffs? Like that's where I go to. Any thoughts on that?
I'm coming around that I think he will. I mean, like I feel like he's hearing that he needs to shoot more finally. Like there's been more of an effort. He still is definitely not going to be a guy who actively seeks his own shot, or like if it's an option is going to be more passive in it, but he's going to take his open looks. He had a couple that didn't fall tonight. He hit one. That one, it was either at fourth quarter or overtime that he had like a late one that rimmed out that you could literally audibly like hear him scream through the screen. I thought defensively he was good. He competed on the boards, especially offensive rebound, which is something that's very important for this team. He's not going to be like a lighted up kind of guy, but I think he's starting to figure out where he fits in this team, which is a sign of progress. And like I've said on here before, it's going to purely come down to postseason and if those corner threes fall or not for how we view him.
Yeah. Measy says PJ is wasted space. Replace him with Thibault. I know Measy and Tiago just became best friends.
Listen, I don't think PJ is a wasted roster spot. I agree with a lot with what Sean is saying. He's actually shooting pretty well from the corner this year. He just doesn't shoot the ball. The ball either never swings to him, or like you said, he kind of hesitates and doesn't take it. But in general, when he's taking shots, they've gone in from the corner. So I think that's his role. I thought a game like tonight, it just screamed Matisse Thybulle because you want to have some bodies at Siakam. You want to have length, athleticism to match Siakam's length and athleticism. And Tucker was swimming, man. He was swimming in that matchup. So I thought it was a good opportunity to get Thybulle over Tucker. But, we're not going to keep going down that path. They clearly don't see Thybulle as a viable rotation player, which I think is insane. But yeah, I think he's definitely going to have a role in the playoff. It's just that offensively, he's kind of a black hole right now, and they have to figure out a way to get him some better looks.
Thibault, who dribbled into a 3-pointer tonight.
He did. He did.
I missed that. I definitely missed that.
Yeah.
Rudy Poo says Daniel House looking more comfortable. He has. He's been playing nice. Quinn says I didn't want PJ, but he does provide good defense in spots. Let's get into player of the game. Sean, who's your player of the game?
I hate to take the layup, but I got to give it to Tobias Harris. I love it. I'm happy to see Toby kind of like looking like getting a little mojo back. He looks like he's got a little confidence again, which I like to see. And just he's doing it in the way the Sixers need him to. So shout out to Tobias Harris for sticking with it, finding his lane and succeeding in it.
Yeah. Tiago.
Man, it's slim pickings tonight, Chris.
This is gonna be brutal. I don't know. Go ahead.
The game's gonna be. It's gonna be Nick Nurse, man. You keep thinking that.
All right, fine. I'm
your team can come out here and just run isolation basketball for 48 minutes. They did a lot of that in the postseason. I never understood it. I'm kind of like cooling off a little bit, Nick Nurse, man. Like I thought he was a really, really good coach, and I still think that, but I just don't understand what Toronto's trying to do. I just don't. I mean, I watched Scotty Barnes, tremendous passer, like showed a lot of plus passing skills, and they don't even integrate him in the offense. It's a little bit weird what's going on there right now. So, yeah, I've kind of cooled off on Nurse in Toronto a little bit. I thought that his coaching played a big role in the Sixers winning tonight.
I'll go Doc Rivers for my play. No,
no, not tonight. You have many reasons not to give Doc Rivers. I was very kind to Doc Rivers today. And I had a list of things I could have gone through.
Miji says Toby kept us alive. Ben Butler, what's going on? Ben says Nick Nurse, I love it. Yeah, Joel. I'll go Joel on this selection. Love seeing him get to the free throw line. I think it was 14 of 15 from the line. You look at the last several games, there's just so much data. Like when he gets 10 or more attempts at the line, the Sixers get the W, and he's been doing that lately. He's been doing it. Look, going back to December 5th, 17 attempts. The 11th, 11 attempts. The 13th, 13 attempts. 16th, 12 attempts. And tonight, he had 15 attempts. So good to see my guy get to the line. I don't want to see any more ISO shooting away from the basket at the three-point line. Let's just stop that. Let's just stop. Get this guy going towards the basket, or at least find an open shooter or something. Just brutal to watch. But Joel Embiid is my player of the game. Where do we wrap it up? Final thoughts on the game, Tiago and plugs.
Yeah, my final thought is there's going to be hopefully some pretty exciting basketball coming up. You got the Clippers in town. I don't know who's going to play from there or not, but they got 2 dates with the New Orleans Pelicans, man, and I'm really excited to watch those games. I think the Pels are proving to be every bit of a title contender this year, and I'm hoping the Sixers get a healthy Pelicans team because I think it's going to be a great barometer to where they're at and where they want to go. I think that is definitely a test there's going to be a lot of takeaways from, so I'll be looking forward to those. And other than that, you get a bunch of cupcakes between now and then, so we'll see. But, the team's playing well. I think you're starting to see a little bit of some trends that they can lean to in the postseason, and we'll see how that shakes out. But they're definitely playing better than early on in the year for sure.
Can't wait to watch my boy Trey Murphy light up the Sixers.
Yeah, he's drops out, man.
My guy. Dude, he's shooting nearly 40% from three. Good season for him so far. What about you, Sean? Final thoughts, plugs.
Yeah, they're 6 games in a row now. They're winning the games they're supposed to be winning, playing better. Signs of progress. So it feels like there's some new life in this team. Guys are getting healthy. The team is looks like it's clicking more. So I think even though that they haven't necessarily been tested, it's still important that they're ending these in the win column and looking fine doing it. So I'm happy to see it. Happy to see the momentum building. And you guys can follow me on Twitter at Sean_Bernard1. Check out Pick Swap Media on YouTube, on all the socials. So I appreciate you guys for having me on once again, and good to be back here.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Final thoughts. Does anybody have concerns about the minutes played? Yeah. I know it went to overtime again, but look across the board with the starters. Almost everybody played over 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is overtime, but they're playing a lot of minutes, man. Am I going overboard with that?
Especially Harden. Harden, I'm especially worried about. This guy's got a growing laundry list of injuries of nitpicky hamstring and stuff that you should probably be a little nervous about. And especially when he first came back, he hasn't had a light minute game really since he came back from injury, which is pretty absurd. And playing 40 minutes right off the bat and coming back and just keeping that a trend is definitely not the best mindset when thinking that we want to win these games come postseason.
I was told by somebody that Harden was on a minutes restriction.
Yeah.
I think his name was Doc Rivers. Yeah. It's 41, 42, 46, 40.
No, he's averaging, since he got back from injury, he's averaging just under 40 minutes a game.
Yeah.
40 minutes.
That's not sustainable.
I'm pretty sure as of a couple days ago, at least, he was leading the NBA in minutes per game. I don't know if that still stands, but worst case, he's in the top 5 or whatever. It's crazy.
Oh god, I'm just waiting for an excuse.
I know like the Sixers have had some injuries, but like if you like look at that stretch, 39.3 minutes per game, that's the most he has ever averaged in his career.
Against some pretty poor competition too. It's not even like it's not like you're going against Milwaukee, Boston, Knicks, and you're like, holy crap, I need Harden to win these games. You're going up against some pretty bad teams.
It's wild. It's wild. Anyway, Quinn says player of the game will be Gardner Minshew against Dallas. Love it, man. Absolutely love it.
And he is in fact leading the NBA minutes per game at 37.6. Tatum's right behind him at 37.0.
That's nuts, man.
Yeah.
That is
what is Tatum? He's 19, going on 20, I think.
Older than 23.
Harden 33, going on 50. So yeah.
Wow. All right. Plugs. I just wrapped up the defensive side of the football for the 2023 NFL draft. I've been doing position by position top 10 rankings. If you love the draft, I just put out my linebacker rankings. Fun group, pretty good group that I like a lot. A lot of day two kind of guys, especially a couple that I definitely have circled on my Eagles target list that I'll be making as separate videos. I won't reveal those yet, but go check that out if you love the NFL draft. It's good to be back, guys. Was dealing with some sickness over the last couple of weeks. Finally got my voice back. So that is, it's good. It's good to be talking shop with you guys. So that basically wraps it up. Sixers get the W. Playing much better basketball. It wasn't completely great tonight, but win's a win, and they move on to Wednesday. Quentin says vitamin D and zinc. I was on every vitamin, man. Yeah. I was on every vitamin. But guys, thank you everyone for commenting. They're amazing. Follow my man Tiago over there at Tiago PHL, and that my man down there at Sean_Bernard1 of PickSwap Media. Two of the best Sixers follows there is, period, on Twitter if you aren't already. We will see you on Wednesday night. For Tiago, for Sean, for myself. Stay awesome, everyone.